The offseason was disappointing for Mariners fans. We know they didn't go out there and make the big moves we were hoping they were going to make, but that does leave some interesting competition in spring training for a couple of prospects that may have a chance at coming up in the 2025 season. Now, I have 6 prospects to watch during spring training this season, and I want to talk about the hitters first because I think the pitchers are actually the more interesting bit of players here. So first, I want to start with, Tyler Locklear, who is technically still a prospect for the Mariners. There's a really good chance he's going to be the right-handed platoon over there at first base, although Donovan Solano is going to figure in there as well. I wouldn't be shocked to see Locklear go back down to AAA to get everyday at-bats. But if he does show up in spring training and hit the cover off the ball, it's going to be really hard to keep him out of the major league team. Now, obviously, we know that Locklear only played in 16 games in the majors with 49 plate appearances. He hit 156, 225, 311, struck out 20 times, and he did have 2 home runs. However, in 2024, in the minor leagues between AA and AAA, over 111 games, 506 plate appearances, he hit 272, 282, 468 with 16 homers, 67 RBI. He walked 62 times and struck out 125 times. Locklear does have some swing and miss in his game that obviously needs to be polished up going into 2025, but I think that he has a really good chance at some point this season to be not an everyday first baseman, because obviously Luke Raley, as of right now, deserves that spot, at least from the left-handed side, maybe Solano versus lefties. But I think that there's a really decent chance that we see Tyler Locklear kind of take that spot from Solano and let Solano roam around the infield a little bit more later on during the season. Locklear, good dude, excited to see what he can do. Obviously, only 16 games in the big league so far. The next one, of course, is Cole Young. Now, second base is a position where we were really hoping the Mariners were going to upgrade this offseason. They didn't. They are going with Dylan Moore, Ryan Bliss, Leo Rivas, and eventually Cole Young. It's already been talked about that Cole Young is probably going to start at AAA. So, I mean, whatever. That's just the assumption here. But again, if he hits the cover off the ball and is clearly the best player for the position, I would not be shocked to see him start the year in the major leagues. Cole Young is a guy who is probably your second baseman of the future. And with Dylan Moore, Ryan Bliss, and Leo Rivas being the only ones ahead of him on the depth chart, I mean, it wouldn't take, a monumental spring training for him to be able to push them out of the way and have him be the starting second baseman going into 2025. Cole Young spent all of 2024 at just 20 years old in AA, 124 games, 552 plate appearances. He hit 271, 369, 390, good for a 759 OPS. Now, those numbers aren't off the charts good, but you have to remember Dickey Stevens Ballpark, which is where the Arkansas Travelers play, is similar to T-Mobile. It's one of the hardest places to hit in all of minor league baseball. Cole Young hit 9 home runs with 57 RBI, stole 23 bags, of most of his minor league career. He also walked 67 times and struck out just 87 times. So that is a really good ratio there for Cole Young. Young is still one of the youngest players down there in AA, and assuming that he does make the jump to AAA this year at 21 years old, yeah, he is going to be one of the youngest guys in the AAA PCL circuit. I think I am really bullish on Cole Young moving into 2025 because I think he could be the second baseman of the future. He's not a huge power guy, but he puts the bat on the ball, makes good contact, has a great on-base percentage, takes his walk. So Cole Young's a guy I'm really excited about. We've heard a lot about him. There's a reason he's been in the top 10 prospects for a long time now. And yeah, I think this is finally the year that we get to see Cole Young, and hopefully we get to see him earlier than we were expecting. Now, the next one on my list is Ben Williamson. He's a guy who's playing third base, who's likely also, it's been talked about, is going to start over there in Tacoma with the Rainiers. And somebody made a comment last year when I made this video last year that said, don't sleep on Ben Williamson. I bet you'll be talking about him this time next year. Here we are. Ben Williamson is a guy who, again, if he hits the cover off the ball, I could see him making the major league roster. It's going to be a little bit tougher for him because he's a third baseman and Jorge Polanco's obviously already over there at third base. But if Polo goes down or if Polo underperforms, Ben Williamson could be the next guy up. I think an infield of Tyler Locklear, Cole Young, and Ben Williamson down there in AAA could be a hell of a lot of fun. And that sounds like that might be the case to start 2025. Williamson is going into his age 24 season. He split time last year between Everett and Arkansas, but played in 95 games in Arkansas, hitting 273, 365, 374, good for a 739 OPS. He also hit 23 doubles, 3 homers, 43 RBI, 15 stolen bags in Double-A, with 44 walks and 97 strikeouts in those 411 plate appearances. Now, the strikeout numbers might be a little bit concerning there for Ben Williamson, something we definitely want to keep an eye on, but it sounds like he's going to be starting in AAA with the Tacoma Rainiers, and that's very, very exciting for Ben Williamson. I think that for a lot of times for the Mariners, AAA is obviously the last stop for the hitters, but Double-A is the last stop for a lot of the pitchers. So unless your name's Julio Rodriguez, then Double-A was your last stop as a hitter. But I think that watching what Ben Williamson puts together down there in AAA with the Rainiers, along with the lineup that's going to be around him, is going to be a lot of fun, because he could end up being a guy who is your third baseman of the future. And I think that he's relatively decent defensively. I haven't seen a whole lot of I haven't seen him much in person, except when I was down in spring training last year for a little bit. But overall, I'm really excited about this crop of these 3 hitters. And now we're going to move on here to the pitchers. And you know what? Joe and I are going down to Peoria in just a few weeks to record as much content as possible. We're going down there for the month for spring training, and you guys could help support us if you have the means to do so. The GoFundMe link is going to be in the description down below. It means the world to us. We've already reached, I believe, 25% of our goal at the time of recording this video due to some incredibly generous donations from a lot of you guys. So I truly cannot thank you guys enough. We really hope that we can bring you guys the best spring training content that the Mariners have ever had. That's kind of the goal. The best content for spring training we have ever seen. That's the plan for Joe and I. So truly, I appreciate you guys supporting us. Next up is a guy who I think we've talked a lot about over the past couple of years, and someone who made a transition in 2024 and then transitioned back, and that is Logan Evans. Now, Logan Evans, the hard part with him is he's a starting pitcher. The hard part with a lot of these guys is a lot of them are starting pitchers. Going into 2025, I actually want to do 2 here, Logan Evans and Michael Morales together, because I think the 2 of them are on very similar paths, and they could be the next guys up if, say, someone gets traded from the rotation or somebody does get hurt. They both had decent years last year. Let's look at both their numbers. Let's start here with right-handed pitcher Michael Morales, who also split time in 2024 between Everett and Arkansas. He made 12 starts up with Arkansas, good for a 3.88 ERA in 65 innings pitched, and a 1.092 whip for him. He struck out 67 batters in those 65 innings, so about a strikeout an inning or so, which was similar to what he was doing in Everett, where at 84 innings he struck out 80 batters. He did have a 2.46 ERA, I'm sorry, 2.36 ERA down in Everett compared to a 3.88 in Double-A. So honestly, I'd be shocked if Michael Morales didn't start the year once again down in Double-A Arkansas. Next, we have Logan Evans, who at 23 down in Double-A Arkansas had a 3.20 ERA. He had he pitched in 32 games, only started 22 of those, so he did have 10 games in relief. 107 innings pitched, good for a 1.178 whip. He struck out 98 batters in those 107 innings. And yeah, this is kind of a couple of guys that I think make the Mariners very, very interesting on the pitching front going into 2025. Evans and Morales are not like Logan Gilbert and George Kirby on the mound. They're not guys with that highly touted of stuff. With that being said, they both seem like, so far, serviceable guys that could help if somebody goes down in the rotation at some point. And if either of these guys shows up in spring training, I mean, I don't think they're going to try to move Logan Evans back to the bullpen, but maybe, like, if he just pitches the hell out of a baseball in spring training, why not throw him in the bullpen? Why not, if there's no clear-cut bullpen guys, throw Logan Evans in the bullpen or Michael Morales. Both guys are still relatively young, and so they both have plenty of time to develop, especially with the Mariners' current pitching staff. And yeah, I think that both Evans and Morales are in a very similar spot where if someone goes down, either guy could be the next one up. But with that being said, there are 2 more players on our list. And the next one here is a guy who's hardly pitched in the minors at all. And that is one Hunter Cranton. Cranton was literally drafted in 2024. He pitched in a total of 9 games for the Mariners. He finished 7 of them. He's not a starter. He is a reliever. 8.1 innings pitched, good for a 1.320 whip down in Single-A Modesto, and a 3.24 ERA. Cranton is already 24 years old because, again, he was a senior sign out of the draft. he has really good stuff and a fastball that could touch triple digits. Obviously a very limited sample size for Cranton in 2024 because he was literally just drafted, but he's a guy that everyone kind of expects to move really quick through the minor league system. I would be shocked if he started the year on the opening day roster, but if by the end of the season Hunter Cranton was up with the Mariners, I wouldn't be shocked. Because again, he's 24 years old. He already has pretty elite stuff in my opinion. Throws the ball hard, is still developing his breaking pitches, but a guy that I think could play a major role at the back end of the Mariners bullpen, maybe this year, possibly even 2026. Hunter Cranton's a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing, but not more than I am looking forward to seeing Brandon Garcia in 2025. They're moving Brandon Garcia to the bullpen. This was talked about maybe back in like December or something like that. Left-handed pitcher Brandon Garcia, and he is a beast. And I think that his stuff is going to tick up in the bullpen. I'm really excited to see what he could do there. Let's take a look at his numbers. In 2024, between two levels, Brandon Garcia put up a 2.25 ERA in 116 innings pitched with 134 strikeouts. Now his whip was 1.216 there. A little bit of walk issues. He did walk 47 over those 116 innings pitched, but nothing that he can't possibly iron out here in the future. And you can see how good Brandon Garcia has been in the minor leagues. A 2.21 ERA over 36 games. He actually just started throwing as a starter in 2024 to begin the year. He didn't start a single game in 2023. He started 25 in 2024. But it sounds like the Mariners, the quickest path for him is going to be as a reliever to the major league level. Brandon Garcia throws from basically a sidearm arm slot, which adds a lot of deception to a lot of his pitches, but kind of explains why he misses the zone a little bit. Apparently, he's worked on that, though, over the past couple of years because he has cut down on his walk rate a little bit while continuing to have an incredible strikeout rate. He has that two-seam fastball that can touch almost triple digits, along with a cutter and a sweeping slider. The cutter is said to be above average, and he gets a lot of ground ball outs. Brandon Garcia could be a weapon, and a high-leverage weapon, for the Mariners going into 2025, something that they sorely missed with Gabe Spire and Taylor Saucedo from the left-handed side, both being relatively mid. And so I think that Brandon Garcia has a really good chance to crack the opening day roster for the Mariners, and I'm super excited to see what he can do in spring training. Let me know if there's any prospects I missed, or if you want a breakdown on any of these guys while I'm in spring training. I appreciate you guys watching this one, and go Mariners.